All right, so I have my base set up on a known point, and what I actually did is I put a target. So if your base is in sight or on site, it's actually good. Go ahead and have a target underneath there, because now that can even be used for a control point or a checkpoint. So anyway, so the base is set up, it's turned on. Now we're going to go to the iPad and we're going to look at the base settings. All right, so hopefully the wind's not too bad. We're going to run through and look at all the settings on my base. We're going to be doing an RTK flight on the M300, so I should be able to just show you the setup. So you see that I am connected directly to the hotspot of the RS2, okay? So now in Emlid Flow, I've already gone to the, here's my receivers. You see the RS2 Plus base right there. And we're good. Now, let's go to status. I am receiving RTK corrections in. Now, let's go back. And I'm just going to run down and let you see my settings. So we already did status. I am correction input. So here's all your different inputs. And so I have corrections coming in from the state of Mississippi. So that is what I'm using there for my input. And then my base output, we are going to be using interrupt out. And so I have had an issue just recently where if I used caster.emlid.com, I had an issue. I don't know if that was a one-day thing, but I'm on a tight schedule today. So I'm leaving the IP address. Normally you should just have caster.emlid.com in there. There's the port number, the password, and the mount point. And so I'd already showed on the computer screen in the office, logging in and looking at the Emlid caster page, and it gives you all of those details. Okay, so it's cancel. Now going back, base settings. Now look, you have, when you're doing RTK, you have to set your base settings. And when I'm going to click on configure, and you have a couple different options. Manual is just manual, and that is what we're going to do today because I'm occupying a benchmark. I'm occupying a known point. So your other three options are average single, meaning you don't have RTK coming in, you don't have a benchmark, you don't have anything. And so when you do that, if I did average single, what I can do is say, hey, we're going to do single. I have no RTK, no known coordinates, and I want you to average the point over, I would probably do 5-10 minutes to get at least a little better. This is not going to be accurate in absolute accuracy, but if you're just doing an RTK flight because you have a lot of terrain, this is going to be perfectly fine because your RTK flight is going to be relative to your base unit sitting there on the ground. So that's what that's for. Now you've got, float. Average float, well, I've never selected that in my life. If for some reason you were so far from a baseline and you can only get a float solution, I guess you'd have to do that. And then of course, RTK fix, you go out, you do not have a known benchmark, but you do have RTK coming in. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have RTK coming in to have an RTK solution for our location, but then we're also going to have RTK going back out, maybe for the actual drone control, for photogrammetry, and you're going to have very, very good accuracy there because your base is located on the site where you're flying. But in today, so what I have to do is I'm going to choose from a project. So I tell you what, Emlid Flow has improved so much from the early days until now, and it just keeps getting better. So what I'm going to choose from a project, and then let's go, give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, this is point number 53, and they got it staked off. This is point number 53, okay? So I'm going to apply, and now this is a manual selection. So I have set it, and I'm gonna have to pause. So I probably got to move my vehicle because someone's coming, needs to get by. Okay, so we're back. So I now have I chose from a project to set my points, or the point of my base. The one very, very, very important thing is that we now have to set the antenna height. 1.68 is the antenna height. You get this wrong and you have screwed the pooch on your RTK. So, and again, this is to the bottom of the antenna. It'll automatically add the offset. You can see there it's at actually 1.814 to phase center. So I'm gonna hit save. There we go. I'm gonna hit save again. We're done. We're good. I'm gonna actually go ahead and log. So always, even when you do RTK, always do logging. And so I'm gonna show you this. This is what we're doing. Rhinex 303 and measured height 1.68, so we're good there. And I'm gonna go ahead and start recording. I'm gonna close the logging, and that's it. I will, so my mobile data's on. I have a SD card in here. I'm just gonna show you GNSS settings. This is static at 1 hertz. Don't do 5 hertz, which is a higher rate. Don't do that on a base unit. But 1 hertz is good. Position streaming, I'm not using that. Firmware updates. So look, that's it. Let's go back. We're now recording. I'm gonna check one more time. 51 seconds, 53. I always go back, a minute later, check my logging, because if anything fails for RTK, then I'm gonna need to do PPK on this flight. So we'll close the recording here. I'm gonna pick up on the controller, and we'll get RTK set up on the controller and get this bird in the air, because we got to get this job done and get going. All right, so we're going to go into the Pilot 2, and we are connected to a little Alcatel jetpack, just a little Wi-Fi device. So we have internet service on the base unit, the Emlid 2. So let's go ahead and go into camera view. I'm going to close this out. And then we'll jump into our RTK settings, okay? So let's go. So on the drone, when we get to the RTK settings, you have 3 options. None, the RTK2 mobile station, which that is only good when you don't have cellular connectivity. It's kind of a must if you're going to do RTK flights on the Mavic 3 or the M300 or the M30. But when you have internet service, you get a Emlid unit and do the custom interrupt, and you're set. So you can see that I have everything set here. And so the Emlid caster webpage tells you exactly what to enter in here. Now, obviously, I'll have to go back and change some of my information. I didn't mind just showing everything for the video, but this is it. The one thing I wish that DJI had was profiles, so that if I wanted to use RTK from the state of Mississippi for my drone flight, as opposed to the Emlid base here on site, that I could just easily do that. But all I have to do is just click in the fields, change it, come down and hit save, and it's done. Okay, so you can see that RTK, we have a fix. We can look down here and see there's the residuals, 800ths for the vertical, 300ths, and that's going to be lat long and altitude. So very good accuracy there. And let's make sure it is turned on up here. So I am set. So I am ready to do my flight. It is that easy to do RTK using the Emlid base on site, and I showed you the various options for even setting up the base. And I hope it's helpful. Look for more videos to keep coming out.